Welcome, everybody, to the Class of 2020 graduation ceremony. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing and join me in a moment of silence for those who have in any way been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as for the lives that have been unnecessarily lost at the hands of institutionalized racism across our nation. Thank you. You may be seated. These past months have unequivocally been among the most challenging and frustrating of times. Each of us experienced adversity in some way, shape, or form, yet through these times we persevered. Our gathering today is a testament not only to the tenacity and the fortitude of the class of 2020, but to the commitment of the faculty and staff who have supported us fully throughout high school. Our teachers and administrators have maintained a strong presence in all of our lives and have helped shepherd us through both the easy and the difficult times. To our teachers, our administrators, and our staff, our class will forever owe you a debt of gratitude. Though the end of our senior year was unexpectedly trying, by no means do our days of digital learning define the experience of the class of 2020. Academically, we have achieved many distinctions and are heading off to great schools in the fall. From our improbable run at the Blue Crab Bowl, to Libby's regional win at Poetry Out Loud, and Kai's stellar performance at Model NATO, our class has made some scholastic memories. Athletically, we have broken several records and attained success on the courts, fields, and water. Who can forget Jordan Battle's 50-point night en route to becoming our all-time leading scorer, or the baseball team's come-from-behind walk-off win at Harbor Park? And in the realm of fine and performing arts, our class has shone bright with numerous all-district, chorus, and band accolades, punctuated by Jenny Kim's all-state chorus recognition. Fortunately, the reputation of our amazing theater department was spared from my participation in the spring musical, although the comedic effect might have rivaled even that of our very own Josh Reed. There is no denying the success of the class of 2020. Personally, I am in debt to every single one of my classmates. Coming from a different school system in ninth grade, you guys embraced me as one of your own and made this school a home away from home. Even though today is a little different from that which I am sure we all envisioned, I couldn't imagine graduating beside a better group of people. Of course, I cannot and will never be able to fully express how grateful I am to have grown up surrounded by such an amazing family. To my granny, my papa, my grandma, and my grandpa, you each have taught me so much about life and have never wavered in your support for me in all of my endeavors. To my sister, Carly, you have kept me updated on what's trending on TikTok and have been someone I know I can always confide in. And finally, to my parents, Mom and Dad, Miss Cooper, Dr. Thompson, you have sacrificed more for me than most people will ever know. Both through your advice and your actions, you have inspired me to reach for my dreams and never settle for anything less. And for that, I am eternally grateful. Now, I would be remiss to have left the podium without shedding light on what I would consider the bigger picture today, and that is what is and has been going on in the world around us. When I drafted this speech back in May, I noted that we were celebrating the achievements of our class under unique circumstances. Measures to limit the spread of the coronavirus rightfully shaped how we celebrated, and a drive-through ceremony was certainly different than anything I had ever pictured in my mind. Though this bears our acknowledgement, we must also recognize that our generation is still grappling with issues that are anything but new and unique to many of my classmates and friends. A day prior to our drive-through ceremony, our nation witnessed the knee of a white police officer and the pavement of a Minneapolis avenue drain the last breath from the body of an unarmed black man. 2 months prior to the death of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, a 26-year-old black woman, was murdered by 2 police officers in her apartment. Eric Gardner, Michael Brown, Trayvon Martin, and countless other black, indigenous, and people of color have suffered similar fates. While the current COVID-19 pandemic is completely novel and casts us new challenges every day, the epidemic of police brutality and institutionalized racism is an issue our society has struggled with for centuries. Now, more than ever, is the time to condemn the violent crimes too often perpetrated against BIPOC groups of this nation and to expel racist ideologies and practices from every facet of our society. The class of 2020 is graduating in an unprecedented time. I remain optimistic, however, because Norfolk Collegiate has produced a class not of pacifists, but of activists, who will always be willing to speak out for what is right. A class who, as Ms. Claywell remarked in a senior meeting this past spring, is never afraid to challenge authority or the status quo. A class who not only has the passion to change the world, but a vision and the capability to do so. I know that every individual before you today has the skills and the courage to work towards a future that is not just better for themselves, but is better for all people of different backgrounds and identities. We are setting foot into a world on the precipice of a new age, an age that we will define not by the coronavirus or the social inequities of the past, but by unity, inclusion, and compassion. Thank you.
Hello, administrators, faculty, friends, and family, both here and joining us virtually, and of course, the class of 2020. I'm going to cut straight to the chase. The world is scary right now. In my moments of anxiety or fearfulness about the state of COVID-19, social and racial inequities, and ideological division, I could be convinced that this is the worst time possible to be going out into the world. However, I've started to realize how that belief is flawed. We are at the precipice of a new beginning. Not the beginning of the end, but an actual new beginning. Yet we can't truly reach that beginning if we don't have the tools to do so. As collegiate graduates, we're lucky to have many of the right tools and a strong foundation. I, for one, am already connecting what I've learned in my 3 years here to current events. For example, the changed voting locations in the Kentucky and Georgia primaries made me think about Ms. Kelly's lessons on the Voting Rights Act. The promises of a coronavirus vaccine reminded me of Mrs. Purrington's explanations of chemical equilibrium. And the petitions, infographics, and essays calling for social justice took me back to Ms. Robb's discussions of written and visual rhetoric. Those are just a few of the myriad academic lessons we've learned that have already set us up to understand the world today. However, Collegiate has given us so much more than merely an academic education. We've learned compassion from Mrs. Claywell's hugs, which I know is absolutely killing her to not give out today. Kindness from Melvin's elbow bumps, and courage from our peers' abilities to stand up in front of the entire upper school to highlight concerns among our student body. We've understood empathy through Ms. DeWitt's desire to serve as a sounding board for our thoughts, honor from Mr. Davis's reminders to sign the pledge at the top of every assessment, and perseverance through our ability to maintain our sense of community despite the havoc wrought by COVID-19. Our tight-knit community has served as a bit of an incubator for the development of those pillars of character. While our college courses will continue to hone our academic skills, it will be up to us to continue to hone those character traits we've developed here at Collegiate. We could have all the expertise in the world about public policy or biochemistry or argumentation, but lasting change will only come if heart and love are behind the application of that knowledge. I'm sure many of us are aware that the musical Hamilton was released on Disney Plus earlier this month. As a diehard fan who watched the recording just last week, all I can think of is the line, "This is not a moment, it's a movement." Although we're not living in the Founding Fathers 1776, I know that 2020 will have a place in the history books that's just as significant. We must seize this moment, but we can't waste the movement. The world may look bleak at the moment, but we have the power to define the movement. Collegiate has begun to fill our toolbox, and as we continue to fill it in the years ahead, we can, and I know we will, be a force to be reckoned with. Now, it's just time to take a shot. Thank you, guys.
Good morning. It is with great pleasure that I celebrate the class of 2020 with you today. I would like to applaud the students on my right and my left. They have had an untraditional end to their senior year, and they have met every challenge with grace beyond their years. They nimbly navigated their digital learning, continued to support their philanthropic endeavors remotely, and managed to stay connected as a class despite digital learning. Although we may not know what the future will look like for our graduates, we do know that they come from a school that instills pride, courage, passion, and lifelong friendships, which is evident in the class of 2020. I am also pleased to introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Baron Seeger. Not only is he a member of a Norfolk Collegiate class of 1980, he is an excellent mentor for leading a life of passion and philanthropy. For more than 20 years, Baron has dedicated his life to growing philanthropic platforms. He is President and Chief Executive Officer of the World Food Program USA, a nonprofit that supports the United Nations World Food Program in the United States. Prior to that, he served as the Executive Vice President and Chief Development Officer at UNICEF USA, and also as Director of Development for Georgia Public Broadcasting. Along with a distinguished career, Baron has held positions on multiple boards. He is the founding member of the Elton John AIDS Foundation, where he has been serving for more than 25 years. He is the proud recipient of Collegiate's Alumni Association's highest honor, the Award for Distinguished Alumni. This award is given to a collegiate graduate who has distinguished him or herself in a particular field of endeavor, demonstrating the qualities of service, leadership, and excellence. So without further ado, let me welcome Mr. Baron Seeger.
Ben, first of all, thank you for that kind remark. Scott, thanks for having me here today. Scott and I actually are neighbors, so I can describe his dog to you, what he has for dinner. But thank you, and also to Libby and Braden, really incredible remarks. And I think I'm going to add a little bit of flavor to what you've already talked about today. As Ben mentioned, I graduated from Norfolk Collegiate in 1980, so seeing you all today, for me, brings back a level of excitement, hope, and nervousness for the class that I felt in my graduation. Of course, it was mentioned earlier, this class is very different than mine, not just because of the years between us, but because of the pandemic that has shut down so many lives, impacted lives, shut down schools, and canceled events such as yours did. But despite it all, you persevered and made it here today, or maybe you're participating on video on YouTube. You are each an incredible inspiration and extremely proud that we're celebrating you today. It might include much more uncertainty than you imagined, but this is still a very exciting time in our lives. You're leaving childhood behind, stepping into the world, and your future continues to be incredibly bright with the possibilities that you're now going to be shaping. I struggled a little bit today about what to say. I actually would be lying if I said I didn't Google, high school speeches, how to be funny, how to be witty, but don't worry, I'm going to be witty and funny. I don't want to be just another person telling you how to live your life, because after all, that's what your parents are here today to do. A wonderful mentor of mine told me that, he said, hey, Baron, people can generally only remember 3 things of what you're going to say today. So I'm going to stick with 3 things, and I'm going to ask that this class really remember just a few things of my topic today, and I'm hopeful that it will resonate with you and give you a little help as you navigate this journey called life. So the first lesson which I learned was that many of your closest friends today are going to be your closest friends throughout life. I look back on my time as a Mighty Oak very fondly. This has a school of wonderful tradition, and I personally learned so many valuable lessons in life that have stayed with me through my career and my life. We each had the opportunity not only to learn, but also to volunteer, to write, to publicly speak, to join clubs, and to play sports. So for me, playing sports showed me that one person cannot carry an entire team. Volunteering taught me about compassion for others, and taking on student leadership roles taught me about self-esteem. By the way, my senior class did vote me friendliest and class flirt, so I'm an extrovert to begin with. I've always stayed close with my classmates, even though many of us went our separate ways. I did laugh this past weekend because I went to the Norfolk Collegiate website, and there was a link called Missing Alumni, Do You Know Where They Are? So first of all, I'm glad I wasn't on that list. One of my good friends in Atlanta didn't stay connected with his high school, but he decided to attend his 10-year high school reunion. And when he walked in, he was greeted with hugs and excitement, and one classmate pulled him aside and said, man, it's great to see you here, because the program had you listed as deceased. So stay connected with your high school throughout life, and if you happen to lose touch, reach out again. I'm sure they'd love to hear from you, whether you regularly connect or not. Friends you make here will be friends for your entire life. So the second lesson I would share today, which is one that you've already heard through our last 2 speakers, which is that we each have a responsibility to stand up. And when I say stand up, I mean for the entire world. There's so many incredibly important issues that we have got to listen to today. They include Black Lives Matter, LGBT, Me Too, and those that I serve, so many people that go to bed hungry every night on an empty stomach, and so many more. I want to pause and just say this past week, we lost an icon of civil rights, Congressman John Lewis. I lived in Atlanta for 26 years, had the honor of interacting with this incredible icon for many years, and he taught me an incredible lesson. John Lewis said, when you see something that's not right, not fair, not just, you have to speak up. You have to take action. So for me, as a member of the LGBT community, I use my voice to educate and stand up against hate. What will your voice be used for? I urge you to commit to standing up for the problems plaguing you in the world today, including racism, injustice. Make your voice heard, but you've got to do more than just make your voice heard. You've got to take action. So please find a cause that drives you and do something today, tomorrow, and for the rest of your life. My last and final point which is about finding your passion in life. For me, what I've found is that to be satisfied with life and your career, you need to find something that's important for you. Find classes, find extracurricular activities, or even work that you're passionate about. I know you've been told this before, but I'm going to say it again. Find something that interests you. It's okay, by the way, not to know what that is today. It's okay not to know what that passion is for your life today. I'm a very incredibly lucky person. I found my passion in life, but I didn't know it in high school. I didn't know it when I was graduating. For me, the answer evolved through experiences. And while I know many of you know what your passion is, you already may have your life mapped out, but I didn't know this until after I graduated from Hampden-Sydney College. As Ben mentioned, I have the honor and privilege of working directly with Sir Elton John. He asked me to be one of his founding board members for his new philanthropic initiative called the Elton John AIDS Foundation. It was an incredible honor to receive that call. And I do remember like it was yesterday. Elton had just gotten out of a recovery center, and we were sitting at his kitchen table in Atlanta. And he was telling me that he'd been given a second chance at life. He'd been helped, and now it was his time to create a legacy serving the needs of others. He wanted to use his philanthropy, his position, his voice for people that didn't have a voice, that could be unheard. So together with a small group of friends, we started the Elton John AIDS Foundation, and 28 years later, I'm still honored to sit on his board. Matter of fact, we had a board meeting yesterday. But through his service and through our leadership, we've saved 5 million lives and raised over $450 million that's gone to direct services in the United States and impacting 55 different countries. So I talk a lot about our experiences. So through the foundation, I had an opportunity to travel to Central America, where I met men, women, and children suffering from this disease. Someone asked me, they said, Baron, what was it like to meet somebody from a less developed country, from Central America? They can't be like us. And my answer was quite simple. They are. They're just like you, and they're just like me. After all, we can't choose where we're born. If we could, why would we choose to be born in poverty or civil war? And we always have to remember that. We can't choose where we're born. This to me was a pivotal moment. I discovered that helping the most vulnerable was what I believed I was put on this earth to do. It was also what excited me. I found my passion in life and made it into a career. But there were early signs when I was your age that I didn't pay attention to. I remember I got a call after I left college, and it was my mom. And she said, you know, Baron, your dad and I have to fess up on something. And that is that, you know, we always gave your sisters more of an allowance than we gave you. And I thought, well, that's not really fair. You know, why did you give my sisters more allowance than you gave me? And my mom said, it's pretty simple, because you would always give yours away. So now as president and CEO of the World Food Program USA, I had the honor of representing the U.S. arm of the world's largest global humanitarian organization in the entire world. This year, because of COVID, we will aim to feed 137 million people in 137. This year, the World Food Program will aim to feed 137 million people in 80 countries. People on the brink of starvation that need all of us. So when people tell you to follow your passion, generally they're giving you good advice. But if you're frustrated because you don't know what that is right now, don't worry too much. My advice is to say yes to experiences, to keep exploring your interests, because I promise you, you will find what gives meaning to life with you. Understanding that you don't have to have everything figured out right now is particularly important, particularly as this pandemic continues to create uncertainty. But it will pass, as others do, and it might even be a great time for you to use this difficult time as an opportunity to personally learn and to grow. So my hope is that you will find your passion in helping create a better world. I think based on the past two speakers, you're already off to an incredible start. After all, this past year has shown us the tremendous need around the world. Many of the world's problems like hunger, racism, discrimination, they are all solvable, and we have to remember that. But we can't do it without the voices, the actions of every one of you. So congratulations again to the class of 2020. Now the world is yours. I can't wait to see what you do with it. So I'm wishing you the success, the happiness, and please find your passion as you embark on this life's journey and your next adventure. Congratulations, class of 2020. Thank you. I have to return this to my sister.
Baron, thank you very much for speaking today. Baron had agreed to speak at our presentation, our graduation ceremony in May. We moved on from that, as you all know, and so I made a call to him about a month ago, and I said, would you be willing to do it outside on our field? And he graciously said, yes. So thank you very much, and I think your comments resonate with all of us here, because one of the things that we talk about as a school every day is making sure that all of our students find that passion, whether it is inside the classroom, outside of the classroom, and pursue it. So, Baron, thank you very much. So, to everybody, welcome to our 2020 graduation ceremony that has been reimagined. For those that have attended graduation ceremonies in the past, we have usually been in the Watt Baker Gymnasium with about 700 people. Obviously, today is a little different. We have a different rule book this year. So before we begin the awards, before we go any further in the program, I do want to take a minute and to thank those people who interpreted that rule book and put on today's program for all of us, for you, and the class of 2020. So I'd like to thank Mr. Tilson, Mrs. Claywell, Mr. Chupik, Mr. Hall, Ms. Nixon, Ms. Stile, Mrs. Cook, Mrs. Brown, Mrs. Davis, Mr. Hoyle, and Mr. Roberts for pulling all this together. It was quite an undertaking, as you can imagine. Now, we have a few members of the class of 2020 that aren't going to be with us today. So what we are going to do is they're on the live feed, so we are going to read their names and recognize them appropriately through the program. So our traditional graduation ceremony is at the end of a week where we have a whole series of celebrations and assemblies where we talk about the class and celebrate their accomplishments throughout the year. We're doing it a little differently this year, so what I'm going to do is to recognize those students, and I'm going to read a series of awards and names, and I'm going to ask our graduates to stand and be recognized as we go through the program. So for the class of 2020, when I read your name, please stand. For the Senior Honor Council members, Braden Thompson, Austin Doyle, and Skylar Tesler. For excellence in AP Computer Science principles, Jake Rhagar. It is nice to be able to smile, and you all can see me smiling, so which is great. Excellence in AP English Literature and Composition, Tristan Howe. Excellence in AP Research, Skylar Tesler. Excellence in Senior Seminar, Olivia Petty. Excellence in Journalism, Jesse Merriman. For the Fine and Performing Arts Department, Excellence in A Cappella, Josh Reed. For Excellence in Theatrical Production, Tyler Hamlin. For excellence in strings, Antonio Gao. For excellence in advanced studio art, Evelyn Gardner. For excellence in yearbook, Emily Scott. And for excellence in pottery, Inma Marin. For excellence in introduction to statistics, Brooke Rogers. For excellence in AP Physics C, Ashley Stack. For excellence in anatomy and physiology, Jake Rhagar. Excellence in AP Environmental Science, Braden Thompson. For excellence in geology, Perry McKay. For excellence in astronomy, Jesse Merriman. Excellence in psychology, Nolan Andre. Excellence in U.S. government, Tristan Howe. Excellence in AP U.S. government and politics, Libby Snowden. Excellence in Latin 4, Tristan Howe. Excellence in AP Spanish language and culture, Braden Thompson. Excellence in AP French language and culture, Antonio Gao. Excellence in Chinese 3, Carson Giocondo. And recognizing the Club of the Year, the Art Club, Perry McKay and Archana Menawat. Now, one of the wonderful things about our school is many of our families have been with us for a long time. Some of you I'm looking out have had several graduates over the year. And so what we have here, an annual recognition, is our 13-year recognition award. So these students have all been with us since kindergarten. Equally important, their parents have been with us since kindergarten and supported our school and trusted their children to us. So to the students and to the parents, thank you very much for trusting your children with us for all these years. So if you could please stand. Ella, and remain standing till all names have been read. Ella Bashara, Annabeth Carey, Andrew Hare, Emmett Jefferson, Mary Pembroke Kaler, Chaz LaHue, Perry McKay, Abe Musselmani, Brooke Rogers, Brandon Petrie, Emily Scott, and Raymond Tahan. So in addition to the academic awards, during our awards season, we also recognize athletic achievement. And we give out some awards and recognize some great athletes and people that have engaged and supported the athletic program both on and off the field. So the Male Athlete of the Year, this year's recipient is Jordan Battle. The Female Athlete of the Year, Skylar Tesler. The Male Scholar Athlete of the Year, Braden Thompson. The Female Scholar Athlete of the Year, Emily Scott. The Marcy Michaels Mighty Oak Award, this year's recipient is Haley Hux. And the Mike Taylor Mighty Oak Award, this year's recipient is Antonio Gao. And our annual Blue and White Award, these are athletes that have played 3 seasons for 4 years. During their entire upper school career, they played athletics, participated in athletics every season. They are Haley Hucks, Nick Howlett, Braden Thompson, and Jake Rhagar. And we have 3 of our graduates that will be going on to play intercollegiate athletics. Mark Hines, we're playing baseball at Hampton-Sydney. Brandon Petrie, baseball at Virginia Wesleyan. And Emmett Jefferson, baseball at Virginia State. So our next series of awards are traditional graduation awards, and I'm asking Mrs. Claywell to come up and give us some assistance. So for these awards, when I read your name, please come forward to receive your plate. The John Morgan Allen Award for Unselfish Consideration of Others. This year's recipient is Mary Pembroke Kaler. The Jessica Davey Caring Volunteer Award. This year's recipient is Austin Doyle. The Ernest Etheridge Award for Leadership and Character. This year's recipient is Libby Snowden. Yep. One way or the other. The Brad Face Award for Excellence in Speech and Communications. This year is awarded to Emily Myers. The Felix Hardin Award for Scholarship and Character is awarded to Braden Thompson. Yeah. The William Huckenpohler Award for Excellence in Statistics, Braden Thompson. The Ian J.R. Katz Award for Scholastic and Athletic Achievement. This year is awarded to Tristan Howe. The Cameron Keene Award for Personal Integrity. This year is awarded to Austin Doyle. The Francis McCleary Award for Excellence in Foreign Language. This year is awarded to Brooke Rogers. The Elise Mueller Award for Excellence in Latin. This year is awarded to Jenny Kim. The Susan Mulvey Award for Excellence in Biology. This year's recipient is Libby Snowden. The Sandler Family Award for the student who most nearly lives by the NCS seal. This year is awarded to Skylar Tesler. The Betty Slabe Award for Excellence in Art. This year is awarded to Perry McKay. And the Henry Jerome Stockard Award for Excellence in Literature. This year's recipient is Perry McKay. The Larry B. Swearingen Award for Athletics. This year is awarded to Nick Howlett. The Amanda Allen Tigner Award for Industry. This year is awarded to Victoria Hargrove. M. Walker Award for Outstanding Leadership in Student Government. This year is awarded to Ray Tahan. The James C. Wirt Award for Excellence in Calculus. This year is awarded to Libby Snowden. The National Honor Society Award for Scholarship. This year is awarded to Brooke Rogers. The Norfolk Collegiate Award for Excellence in English. This year is awarded to Nolan Andre. The Norfolk Collegiate Award for Excellence in History. This year is awarded to Emily Scott. The Norfolk Collegiate Award for Excellence in Performing Arts. This year is awarded to Jenny Kim. The Norfolk Collegiate Award for Excellence in Science. This year's recipient is Libby Snowden. The Head of the Upper School Award this year is awarded to Andrew Hare. The Head of School Award this year is awarded to Ashley Stack. The Norfolk Collegiate Salutatorian Award, Braden Thompson. The Norfolk Collegiate Schools Senior of the Year this year is awarded to Braden Thompson. The Norfolk Collegiate Valedictorian Award, this year's recipient, Libby Snowden. The Norfolk Collegiate Schools Service Award, this year's recipient, Antonio Gao. The Acorn Editor Award this year is awarded to Emily Scott. And the Oakleaf Editor Award this year is awarded to Jesse Merriman. Now for the most special awards, the awarding of diplomas. So I will turn the podium over to Mrs. Claywell.
Good morning, everyone. I was joking with the senior class inside and last night that I practically have had to duct tape my arms to my side to prevent me from hugging your children. So they've been very patient with me. I'd like to add my thanks to this class, and again, we had a few moments in the Watt Baker Gym before. They have been an exceptional group, but I reminded them we started high school together. It's when I began my time as head of the upper school. So I told them the last 4 years we've figured this out together. They've been great and patient teachers to me, great partners, and I feel in some ways I'm graduating with them today. Normally we have several practices where I can get practice the names, so I'm going to apologize in advance if I mispronounce any names. So please bear with me, and let's begin the best part of the program. Noah Lewis Alprin. Nolan Gladys Mary Claude Andre. Jackson Brady Arnold. Elliot Patrick Bacaneri. Tracy Victoria Barraclaw. Kai Armand Bartal. Eleanor Sophia Bashara. Jordan Michael Battle. Coral Yolan Bowman. I knew it. I'm sorry. Charles Fitzhugh Cantrell. Annabeth Nicole Carey. Bryn Alden Coakley. Paul Anthony Decker, Jr. Austin Christopher Doyle. Jordan Roth Famalant. Zhilang Fan. Thomas Kingsley Forchus. David Monroe Forehand. Olivia Ellen Foreman. Peter Landon Francis. William Jareth Frankenberry. Antonio Yang Gao. Evelyn Marie Gardner. Carson Chia Giacondo. Congratulations. Mackenzie Rose Grigg. Andrew Dale Hare. Tyler Roman Hamlin. Victoria Anik Hargrove. Bailey Alexander Harkins. Kendall Vaughn Harper. Michael Philip Harvey III. Mark Anthony Hines. Chapman Dean Holt. Tristan Michael Howe. Nicholas Niles Howlett. Tyler Houston Huckabee. Haley Carter Hucks. Samantha Joy Janovitz. Emmett Edward Jefferson IV. Elijah Amir Jones. Victoria Michael Jones. Mary Pembroke Kaler. Jenny Hazel Kim. Spencer John King. Jonathan Patrick Kruger. Fangyi Lai. Charles Wallace LeHue. Rian Liu. Sylvia Ray Mack. Immaculata Marin. Martha Perry McKay. Archana Menawat. Jessica Shea Merman. Abraham Zatam Musulmani. Emily Fordyce Myers. Brandon Michael Petrie. You're good. Olivia Diane Petty. Jake Christopher Raygard. Joshua Scott Reed. Brooke Audrey Rogers. Brooke Audrey Rogers. Thank you. Emily Marie Scott. Seth Ethan Smith. Elizabeth Ann Snowden. Ashley Taylor Stack. Raymond Giorgio Tahan. Skylar Rose Tesler. Braden Michael Thompson. Tabitha Lane Thornton. Logan Mercedes White. Thank you.
It's up here somewhere. In the past, it seemed like graduation was a forever away. Yet these last 5 months have seemed almost longer than the last 4 years. When I last gave this speech, I made the argument that 2020 wasn't the worst year in human history. I think it heard me and took it as a challenge. Since then, we got murder hornets and a literal plague of locusts. And as the firstborn son in my family, I'm starting to get a little nervous. As unique as this year has been, I believe it is only the beginning of something far greater. We stand on the precipice of what will be the next great era of American history, one full of challenge and opportunity the likes of which we've never seen before. An opportunity for this generation and this graduating class to become the next scientists to conduct the American experiment and to take on and ultimately solve the issues where solutions have evaded us for generations. Where the American dream can finally be realized by all Americans from all walks of life. The course we take moving forward will one day be prominent in the pages of history books similar to the ones we've studied here. If there's one thing I've learned about history from my time at Norfolk Collegiate, is that there are special types of people who help shape that history. Those who are passionate, courageous, intelligent, and hopefully kind. I have no doubt in my mind that these amazing graduates who I had the pleasure of graduating with and sharing my high school experience with are not only going to be successful, they possess the abilities to pass into the echelon of those who fundamentally change the world. Perhaps as politicians, activists, scientists, doctors, cultural icons, or even the CEO and founder of a Fortune 500 pharmaceutical transportation company. This is a class that will push forward to ask how and why, to change things, and to not simply do for the sake of doing, but to impact the world with the lives we lead. Much like Mr. Seeger, these next future keynote speakers of this class will return one day having achieved great things. The optimism I hold has not occurred in a vacuum. None of who we have become or what we will achieve would have been possible without those who have helped us along the way. I would like to begin by recognizing our faculty marshals. Dr. Thompson and Ms. DeWitt were chosen to lead us here today because they have continuously done so in the time that we have known them. With their kindness, guidance, and lessons both in and out of the classroom, they have been pillars of support, and we will always appreciate them. On behalf of the class of 2020, thank you, Dr. Thompson and Ms. DeWitt. These years have given us teacher and faculty who have taught us with passion, wisdom, and most importantly, time and patience. They believed in us and pushed us to be our best even when we didn't think we could do it. They have taught us lessons outside of their individual disciplines. Lessons like hard work, communication, and the value not only of what we do, but how we choose to do it. On behalf of the class of 2020, thank you for all you have done for us. To our families, and especially our parents, you've been with us since the beginning. You've given us love, stability, motivation, and the gift of fantastic education, and we promise to make you proud. It's because of these people in our lives that we are prepared to write the next chapter in both our individual lives and the history books. If we can survive 2020, I'm not sure there's much that can stop us now, other than ourselves. To quote Fred Rogers, we live in a world where we need to share responsibility. It's easy to say it's not my child, not my community, not my world, and not my problem. Then there are those who see the need and respond. I consider those people my heroes. No matter what comes next, we must strive to be heroes to each other and all those who need us to be. I'm very excited for this next step, and I'm sure the rest of my classes as well. And we hopefully hope to attend college. That'd be really nice. So please continue to wear your masks, and hopefully great bastions of education and scientific advancement, like the University of Pittsburgh, for example, release the vaccine they've been working on soon. I know I speak on behalf of all of us when I say that it has been an honor and a pleasure to be an Oak, and more so, to have known them. Thank you.
Well, the school year is almost done. And what a year it's been. Now, as tradition, I fill the last spot on the program, which, as any speaker knows, is never the best place to be on the program. So, this is an important time in the life of our school and the life of the graduates. I've always had this role of summing up the year, hitting the highlights, hitting the accomplishments of the class as individuals and as groups, talking about the plays that have gone in the Hackney Theater, and talking about the athletic achievements of throughout the school year. This year, as I was preparing this, I didn't really know where to start. Is it highlighting the success of the inaugural LEAP program? Is it celebrating the athletic victories? Is it listing AP scores and college acceptances? Or is it the fact that the last time we saw the class of 2020 was March 13th? Or is it the fact that we're all sitting in a field in the middle of July? So I'm going to start there. It's July 24th. It is not May 22nd. Being the month of July leads us to take a different perspective on September, December, and February, and all of the months that led up to March. Those months seem like a million years ago, and our world truly has changed seismically since we left on March 13th. We have watched our country be ravaged by an unseen microscopic enemy. The term coronavirus and COVID-19 has been forever seared in our consciousness. And that virus has changed the 1920 or the 2019-2020 school year in unimaginable ways. And sadly, this unseen enemy is going to continue to impact this school over the next few months. We've seen the country confront racism that is both seen and unseen, institutional and individual. There's not a person or an organization that does not be impacted by the protests and events following the killing of George Floyd. All schools have been impacted, and a school cannot be unchanged by what has transpired and what has been shared and what has been seen. We will continue to be the school that is anti-racist, but we also need to move, as all of us are. Condemning it is only a piece. Confronting and changing is something else. We will be a school that continues to work towards equality and justice and educates leaders of tomorrow, leaders of character, and leaders of change. And as you've heard today from Mr. Seeger, Ms. Snowden, Mr. Thompson, and Mr. Reed, are graduates and willing and able to be those type of leaders. Now, the coronavirus silently stole a lot from this school and a lot from the class of 2020. In our own way, we've each compiled a list of those losses. Games, events, moments with friends, and each one of us can review those lists in their own time. What I'm going to focus on, briefly, is what the class of 2020 gained. What they gained this spring. What the class of 2020 learned is going to help them be very successful members of the class of 2024. The class learned that education and learning is not limited to sitting in a classroom. Lessons such as taking ownership for one's own education and having the discipline to do the work when no one's looking are life lessons that are hard to teach. Those lessons need to be experienced. And the class grew from those experiences this year. The class of 2020 learned how to master the art of a Zoom call. They learned to applaud, they learned to share a screen, they knew how to raise their hand, and they learned how to unmute themselves before begin speaking on the screen. The class also learned how it's very important to check your background before you log into a video call. The class gained a deep respect for those moments in life that matter. Taking care of one's family, checking in on friends, sending video message to celebrate a milestone. When we are separate, we all gained a new appreciation for what it means to be together. And lastly, the class has gained positive and negative insights in our society and our world that will have a generational impact. As each of our graduating speakers noted today, this class is willing to engage in the hard work to make this world a better place. Every member of the class of 2020 across the country and across the world recognizes that there is hard work ahead for all of them and for all of us. So, very telling that Mr. Seeger referenced the same important icon that I have been resonating with over the past few weeks. In closing, I charge the class with the words of the late Congressman and civil rights icon John Lewis. Never, ever be afraid to make some noise and get in trouble. In good trouble, in necessary trouble. So, it is with great pleasure that I belatedly close the 2019-2020 school year. So, ladies and gentlemen, finally, here is the class of 2020.